And so this is testimony, like she said, to a lot of breaking through strongholds. But my recent story has been about letting go and learning to fully surrender. I think that's probably going to be a lifelong endeavor, but to a deeper level. So in September of 2016, the words I heard specifically were, let go, release everything, and I am making all things new. God was very clearly calling me to step away from my career and stay home. I knew that part of his leading me this direction was for my family, but I also knew that he wanted to do some deep work within me. This was my first step in this journey of surrender. So these years at home have included more heart work than I can sum up in a few minutes, but also included a very real battle through the form of anxiety and panic attacks. Looking back, I had my first and what I hoped was an isolated panic attack in 2013 when I was pregnant with my youngest after several months of very limited breathing. I felt like I was suffocating and experienced fear like never before. This panic and fear returned over the last couple of years when I went through a long stint of sickness, including a full nasal shutdown, my throat closing up where I could no longer swallow solid foods, lost the ability to sleep, and I even lost my voice. While none of this was life-threatening, it was enough to throw me back into a very dark place mentally and emotionally. I felt like I was in an intense minute-by-minute battle with the enemy, breaking through lies that were being thrown at me. I heard him taunting me with, I will take you out. God can't fix this, and this is your new normal. So those were the lies I was hearing, but to combat this, I would read scripture, sometimes all night. I would journal. I saw every specialist. I tried every drug. I went to counseling. If there was a remedy to seek, I sought it. And if there, kind of like a caged animal, it was that fight or flight. My primary focus was finding a way out of this feeling. So though the darkness seemed to press in around me, God never left me, and he never stopped speaking. He was once again loud and clear that he did not lead me into this desert to leave me alone, but to be alone with me. And I clung to this. This was my own version of Deuteronomy 31:6, where it says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic before them. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will never leave you nor abandon you. So throughout this time, I could also feel him asking me to open my hands and let go. I have always feared surrender, not because of who I was surrendering to, but because of maybe all that it would require. That it'd be hard, that it'd be scary and painful. I pictured it like the trust fall of all trust falls. If you kind of remember, like youth group, where you'd stand and just hope that somebody catched you. I was just never good at that. I imagined falling backwards terrified until he eventually caught me. But one night, as I was laying in bed, I heard the Lord say, you never have to fall backwards. Terror is not how I teach my children. I simply need you to let go so that I can pull you forward. My plan has always been and always will be to pull you forward. This was the breakthrough I needed. The realization of Isaiah 55:9, just as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are his ways higher than my ways, and his thoughts higher than my thoughts. I had this thing all wrong. I cried and I tried to journal under the covers so I wouldn't wake my sleeping husband. This was the revelation that I needed. It was the greatest gift he could have given me in this time. Through this revelation and a commitment to refuting lies and renewing my mind with his truth, I'm so thankful to say that the fear that once controlled me is no more. I stand before you as a testimony that he speaks, that he uses the hard things for our good, that he sets captives free, and that letting go is truly the safest thing that we could ever do. Because we serve a God that wants to lovingly pull us to a higher place in him.